It's time for America Outdoors Radio. The fast-paced hour of outdoors radio ahead is not only awesome, but unlike those other shows, you can actually sleep in for this one. Better still, we've got a special Pacific Northwest edition for you, sponsored by Northwest Sportsman Magazine, Rugged Point Lodge on Vancouver Island, and Northwest Fishing Guides out of our hometown here in Everett. You won't find this version of America Outdoors Radio anywhere else. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio. Brought to you by Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
I think you're going to enjoy the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio this week. We'll be talking to Jim Stahl. He is the owner of Northwest Fishing Guides. And you get the latest about what's going on the lower Columbia River. Heading north, we'll also talk to Matt Giguette, the owner of Rugged Point Lodge, and see if that epic salmon run is still going on off the west coast of Vancouver Island. And in case you haven't heard, sockeye fishing is going on right here in Washington State. Baker Lake is open. The Columbia River is open or is opening. And I suspect Lake Wenatchee will be opening soon too. Looking for a great lure to use and maybe a little bait to go with it? Well, Lance Mers with Max Lure Company will tell you about a great choice later in the show. But as always, we start off our Pacific Northwest edition with What's Hot. And first off, Baker Lake salmon fishing has opened early because of early returns and also returns of salmon in greater numbers than expected. Baker Lake is now open for sockeye salmon. Try trolling a Max Lure sockeye rig to get your limit of 5 fish. The minimum size is 18 inches. Second, we've got great news for shrimpers because spot prawn season has reopened in Marine Area 7 South and the San Juans to include Iceberg Point and Salmon Bank. It turns out there are enough shrimp available for 8 more days of fishing, so you can get out there anytime between today and next Saturday the 16th. The bag limit, 160 shrimp. Yummy. Third, the hot spot so far for salmon angling in the area is found in the waters off of Port Angeles. Over the last week, creel checkers have found more success here by far compared to other waters in Puget Sound. Number 4. Don't have a boat for Puget Sound salmon? Don't worry. Head down to your local pier and cast a buzz bomb or fish a herring under a bobber. There is a 2 Chinook limit. All coho must be released. Number 5. Do you own a GPS? Do you know how to use one? If the answer is no on either account, make plans to attend a free Intro to GPS workshop being put on July 16th from 2 to 3 p.m. at the Federal Way Sportsman's Warehouse. Head to the gift bar and learn all the basics about using these great devices that are all the rage on land and on the water. And now it's time to check in with Jim Stahl. He's the co-owner of Northwest Fishing Guides based out of Everett, Washington. Jim, how's the fishing been on the Columbia River as of late?
I'm not going to complain. Sturgeon fishing has been like what we've kind of expected. It's really good. We're having anywhere from 20 to 30 fish days. The salmon that opened on the 16th of June has actually been a little slow. The ocean's been really going pretty good since it opened on the 1st. And then the steelhead up by Cathlamet has been hit or miss, but the days that it's been hit, it's been really good fishing coon shrimp behind spinning glows in really shallow water, and it's been a great time.
Now, all 3 of these fisheries are taking place on the lower Columbia River. Tell me more about the steelhead fishing. I haven't heard anybody talking much about this yet.
Yeah, it's a pretty secretive thing. It's kind of caught on thanks to the internet the last few years, but we're picking off all those fish that are headed for the Cowlitz and the Lewis and even the Snake and Clearwater before they ever get to any of the tributaries. And it's a cool fishery. It's an all-in-anchor fishery, so you got to have that outgoing tide to work with you. So you only get about maybe 8 really good days a year that'll work. But it's a great fishery for families and kids. The weather's nice and the fishing's usually just as good.
So there you go, folks. The fishing's going off on the lower Columbia for sturgeon, for steelhead, and now and again you'll get into some salmon too. If you want to book a trip with Jim, just go to his website, nwfishingguides.net. That's nwfishingguides.net. Thanks, Jim.
Perfect. Take care.
And with that, let's head to this week's national edition of America Outdoors Radio.
Want a trip with some of the most talented anglers on the water? Then book a trip with Northwest Fishing Guides. Salmon. That's right, salmon are their specialty, and you'll get a chance to catch them out of the mighty Columbia River from a comfortable and sturdy 26-foot boat. Northwest Fishing Guides will take you out for steelhead and sturgeon too, and can also accommodate your saltwater fishing desires. So whether you want salmon in the cooler or other fish on the line, book your trip now at nwfishingguides.net. That's nwfishingguides.net. Book your trip with the best.
It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations, we cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
I'll tell you what, I've got Baja on my brain this week. The reason why? Well, I just got back from Loreto. That's down on the Baja Peninsula. Got to go fishing on the Sea of Cortez. Got to reel in some cabrilla. Had a wonderful time. And one of the best parts about this stay was staying at the Villa del Palmar Resort in the islands of Loreto. 5-star accommodations. Unbelievable. The food was fantastic. The rooms were huge. Oceanfront to boot. There's 3 pools there. There's 3 restaurants as well. And there's a beach. That's right. The beach on Danzante Bay. A highlight for me was probably heading out there on a kayak from the beach and literally being within feet of jumping manta rays. Absolutely cool experience. In addition to that, got to see fin whales, bottlenose dolphins jumping in the wake of our fishing boat, and heck, I even picked up some golf clubs for like the first time in 29 years. And after you see the course there at Villa del Palmar Resort, especially the 17th hole, you'll want to do the same. As a matter of fact, we've got a discount code for you if you're interested in going to Villa del Palmar Resort. It will give you 20% off your stay and $500 in resort coupon credits. That's the sort of thing you can use to go golfing. That's the sort of thing you can use to go kayaking. You can use it at the spa they have on site. All sorts of things you can use that $500 resort coupon credit for. And again, 20% off. That's a heck of a deal. If you want to find that discount code, simply go to our website at americaoutdoorsradio.com. Look for the Villa del Palmar Resort logo, and we've got a link that'll take you right to the reservations where you access that code. Again, it's americaoutdoorsradio.com. Go to the front page there, check out this discount code, book your stay at the Villa del Palmar Resort in the islands of Loreto. I suspect you'll have just as good of a time as I did. This week on the show, with Baja on our mind, we're going to get some fishing reports from the Baja Peninsula from Leonard Phillips. He's the owner of Baja Pirates of La Paz. And we'll also talk to well-known Baja, California outdoors writer and photographer Gary Graham, who's going to tell us what the fishing scene is like, not only in Loreto, but also on the East Cape and off of Cabo. Another fish you'll find off the Baja Peninsula and along the California, Oregon, and Washington coast is albacore tuna. Captain Del Stevens, a.k.a. the Tuna Dog, is one of the most well-known anglers in the Northwest. He's going to join us to share 3 things you need to do to be a more successful tuna angler, and we'll tell you about his new book. It's a must-have tuna primer called The Dark Side. Speaking of the Northwest, one of the most anticipated fisheries of the summer is coming up soon. It's the Buoy 10 salmon fishery. It kicks off at the beginning of August at the mouth of the Columbia River near Astoria. Jim Stahl, the co-owner of Northwest Fishing Guides, will break it all down for you so you can get in on the action too. In addition to this, we've got some outdoors news for you dealing with a court ruling in Montana that will allow anglers access to a river that a wealthy private property owner wanted to cut them off from. We've also got a wild and crazy Trail of Shame segment for you this week where our Canadian inductees, get this, are cited after they decided to go for a ride on the back of a swimming moose. But first, we thought we'd share with you a conversation that just may save that RV or truck camper of yours. Next on America Outdoors Radio, we just finished talking about those nice campers you can get from Lance, and let's say you've got a pickup camper. Let's say you've got an RV. Do you cover it or do you leave it uncovered? A man who's going to tell us why you should cover it is Fred Durant. He's the sales manager for All Steel Northwest out of Belfair, Washington. Fred, welcome to the show.
Thanks, John. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. So, Fred, got to ask you, why do you need to cover that RV? Lots of people don't.
Well, it's a good question. You know, a lot of people don't think about it up here in the Northwest, but sun is the number one killer of our RVs, UV radiation. And even though we have a lot of cloudy days, it still damages your RV. And then after the sun does its damage, we got the rain and the snow and pine needles pitch. Also, I just had a customer this last winter, pretty sizable tree, about a foot and a half in diameter, fell, and actually the cover stopped it. Now, I'm not claiming our covers are going to stop every tree, but it saved him, saved his RV from being destroyed. So the pollen, when spring hits and get that yellow stuff all over the place, protect your RV from that as well. So there's, many reasons to get a cover for your RV.
I was about to ask you why not put a tarp over it, but you just answered that question with the tree and other debris that might fall on top of your RV or your camper there. So let's talk about some of the products you have. You have a $1,995 package for RVs. Tell our listeners about this.
Right. Right now we have a special. It's on a 12 wide by 31 long with a 12-foot leg, and this is our round horizontal style building. It's got a clearance of 14 feet 6 inches in the center, and so any RV will fit under there. And it comes with extra bracing. And we have a 10% discount going on right now till the 11th of July. And then we will have our big sale is in September through the whole month of September, 10% off. And right now that $1,995 cover is $1,692.
Oh, wow. That's a great deal. So here's another question for you. These steel RV covers, what's their lifespan? How long can you reasonably expect them to last?
Well, we will guarantee the particular building I quoted you was 14 gauge. We give you a 10-year warranty on that. 12 gauge comes with a 20-year warranty. But like I tell folks, when we're dead, the building's still going to be standing there. I mean, it's all hot-dip galvanized steel. All the steel comes from America. It's high-quality steel. You can build, next to salt water, not a problem. I've been doing this 12 years. I've never had a complaint about the building's wearing.
Another question for you here. Are permits required for these, steel covers for your RVs or not?
The answer is it depends on the size of the building that you order. And that changes depending on the county you live in. I can't give you a straight across answer. I can tell you in general, most counties, anything wider than 10 feet wide and 20 feet long want a permit. Now, there's some places out in eastern Washington and farmlands where you can do 400 square feet, so like a 20 by 20. You'll have to talk to your county. The prices I am quoting are non-engineered. We call them our Northwest Edition. They're designed to handle average sea level weather. We can build the same building to code, and it would cost more. That building would cost about $475 for engineering and another $200 for special wind anchors to bring that up to the code for the Northwest. I have customers that will build them to code and not build them to code. That's up to the customer.
Now, Fred, one more question for you here. We've got stations in western Washington where you're at, but we've also got stations in eastern Washington and Idaho, Montana, Oregon, and even Northern California. Can they order from All Steel Northwest too?
Most of them can. We do California from LA up to the Canadian border, and we go as far as Twin Lakes in Idaho. So I have sold to some folks in Pocatello and Montana. It'd have to be a very large building, or they can meet us in Twin Falls. We can do a drop-off. They can pick it up from there. Our prices do cover delivery and installation unless we're doing a drop-off. But so that's kind of our delivery areas. Twin Lakes is the cutoff in Idaho all the way to the Washington and all of Oregon and most of California.
All right, we are running out of time, but before we go, folks, I encourage you to check out the website for All Steel Northwest. It's really easy, allsteelnw.com. That's allsteelnw.com, or drop by their shop in Belfair, Washington. Fred, thanks for telling us all about this and explaining why you need a steel cover for your RV on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, John.
RVs and boats are not cheap, yet yours is getting hammered by rain, snow, falling branches, tree sap, and UV fading. So what can you do? Protect it with an all-steel Northwest metal cover. Right now, a 12 by 31 by 12-foot cover is only $19.99. Made in America and built for the Northwest with reinforced braces and a heavy-gauge, hot-dipped, galvanized steel frame. Just $19.99 to protect your investment in your boat or RV. Call All Steel Northwest at 360-277-0200.
Avast ye, mateys! If you're looking for an Alaskan quality-style sports fishing experience south of the border, you need to book a trip with Baja Pirates Fishing Fleet. We offer great fishing in Mexico's Sea of Cortez with the best boats, the best gear, and the best service, which includes American-style boats. Your catch, frozen and vacuum-packed, and your fishing licenses are included. Don't walk the plank. Book with the best and go to BajaPiratesOfLaPaz.com.
The Dark Side is the addicting story of Del Stevens, a.k.a. Tuna Dog. He's the man converting salmon anglers to tuna addicts up and down the West Coast. All it takes is one albacore feeding frenzy with screaming reels and a bloody boat deck to turn you into one as well. Del Stevens breaks tuna fishing down to its core so you can get addicted too. It's The Dark Side. Look for it on Amazon.com or get a signed copy through TunaDogOffshore.com. That's TunaDogOffshore.com.
Starbucks Mid-Valley Line-X in Salem is the place to go for your pickup truck's Line-X protective coatings. These coatings are so durable, they guarantee them for as long as you own your truck with a warranty that's good nationwide. Not only do they spray in bed liners with your choice of colors, but they also sell accessories like mud flaps, floor mats, and running boards. They've been in business for over 20 years and are not going anywhere soon. Starbucks Mid-Valley Line-X, the place to go in Salem and in the Willamette Valley.
Timberline Range Camps are known for their rugged, durable, well-insulated range camp trailers. Don't think of these as an RV. They're an RV on steroids that will last you a lifetime. They are comfortable, too, fitted with all the amenities you would expect, and they even include a wood stove. Timberline Range Camps can be used as a hunting camp or a towable home to take you to your remote getaway. One thing is for sure, all your friends will be envious of your towable range camp trailer. Find out more at sheepcamps.com. That's sheepcamps.com for Timberline Range Camps.
Blue Moon Fishing Adventures has the experience and knowledge to take you where the fish are biting the best. Blue Moon Fishing Adventures offers freshwater trips for salmon, steelhead, and oversized sturgeon. And with their 33-foot offshore boat, they can chase tuna, halibut, lingcod, salmon, and bottom fish. Whether you're an experienced fisherman or a novice, Blue Moon Fishing Adventures will do their very best to see that you have a great time fishing. Give them a call at 360-521-0273. That's 360-521-0273.
Are you ready for an adventure? No, not the kind where you're rappelling off cliffs and canoeing down waterfalls. The kind where you sleep in a cushy bed, open the door with a hot cup of coffee, and set out to do some fishing or hiking. The low-stress kind of adventure we offer at Northwest Adventure Rentals. We're a family-owned business that will start you on your way in one of our luxury motorhomes and travel trailers. We'll even do the packing for you. Just grab your food and clothes and set off for your next adventure. Oh yeah, don't forget your fishing pole. Look us up at nwadventurerentals.com.
Got a truck? You better have a bedliner if you want to protect your truck, and the best bedliners found in the South Sound are found in Auburn at Line-X Plus. Line-X spray-on bedliners offers such good protection, you'll get a warranty for it. Good nationwide for as long as you own your truck. Line-X bedliners are tough, durable, and way better than what the competition has to offer. Don't settle for a rubber mat or a drop-in liner. Get a spray-in bedliner and get the best at Line-X Plus, located at 3508 C Street Northeast in Auburn, Washington.
Row, row, row your boat, can't get up the stream. Fill your boat and motor needs a King Salmon Marine.
Are you ready for summertime fun? Have you been thinking about a new or used boat and motor? King Salmon Marine will fill all your boat and motor needs.
Row, row, row your boat to look for something new. 253-830-2962. Yay!
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz, and this portion of the show is brought to you by California Sportsman Magazine. Look for it on a newsstand near you. We are talking tuna fishing, and we are going to be talking tuna fishing with the author of The Dark Side, the best book I've ever seen that breaks down tuna fishing from A to Z. The author of it is Captain Del Stevens. Del, welcome to America Outdoors Radio.
Hey, good morning, John. Thank you.
Del, I love this book, The Dark Side. Again, it is like the best primer I've ever seen for tuna fishing. And I want to take some time today to go ahead and tell our listeners 3 things that anglers need to do to ensure success this year. And I understand the tuna have shown up early off the western coast.
Yeah, off the Oregon coast, they showed up June 8th this year, considerably earlier than normal.
So is this a water condition thing, or do you think this is going to foreshadow a very good season this year?
You know, I think it's a precursor to a very good season. Last year they showed up in June as well, about a week later than this, and you know, we had a great season, even though it ended early last year, which is unusual. But we're looking forward to a really good season. They're catching a lot of fish right now.
All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about albacore tuna here. 3 things anglers need to do. What's the number one thing you'd recommend for tuna anglers to do to help them get more fish in the boat?
They need to learn how to find fish. There's not enough emphasis for people learning how to find fish. And you get out there in the late season when the albacore move down into a thermocline, and a lot of people use trolling to find fish, and early in the season you can get away with trolling to find fish. But late in the season, trolling won't work to find fish a lot of the times. And so you've got to learn some other techniques for finding fish, such as using your electronics, and sometimes a gut feeling to stop and just take a look on your electronics to see what's down there.
Okay, that sounds like good sense there. And again, you know, obviously when they're on the surface, it's a lot easier because you're looking for those bait boils and the visible signs. But you're right, once they go down, that makes it a lot tougher. You talk about green water, blue water. Is that something that people need to pay attention to when it comes to finding tuna?
It is. There's more food in the green water than there is in blue water, and albacore love to eat. And many times you'll find the albacore on that transition area where it transitions from green to blue water. A really good place. You want clean green water if they're in there, but that transition area. And it's a rare occasion that you'll see a solid line that looks like somebody took a pencil and drew a line in the ocean between green and blue, and you definitely want to fish that break.
Okay, so that's number 1. Let's talk about the number 2 tip that tuna anglers need to know to get some more albacore in the boat.
They need to learn more than one technique. And if you have one arrow in your quiver, you really limit your opportunities. The 3 things that a good albacore fisherman needs to learn: 1, obviously, how to troll.
Sure.
2, they need to learn how to fish swim baits, whether they're trolling the swim baits or running and gunning, pitching them to jumpers. And 3, they need to learn how to fish iron, how to what we call working the iron. And working the iron will serve them a lot better in the fall when those fish have moved down into that thermocline, and they stop out there, take a look on their sonar, which they now have set at 0 on manual, 0 to like 100, 150 feet, and they can see them down there, and the fish won't come up for troll, but you can go down and get them with the iron. And once you hook a fish on iron, a lot of times you'll bring the whole school to the surface.
Interesting. So when you're working the iron, are you basically jigging, or are you basically trolling behind a downrigger? How are you doing this?
No, you're vertically jigging it on a parabolic rod that's specially designed for that, with a high-speed reel that's 6 to 1 or faster. And you're using something like a Shimano butterfly jig to do that. And you're dropping it straight down. And some types of jigs will flutter going down and they'll catch fish on the drop. Others, you drop them down and using a walking the dog motion, bringing the iron back, it'll dart back and forth and the albacore will strike it.
You know, that's really interesting to me, too, that you can actually use this technique to bring the fish to the surface. I didn't even fathom that you could do that sort of thing.
It's kind of funny. I haven't trolled in 2 years for albacore.
Wow.
And I ran offshore, got in an area where I saw some sign, birds working the surface. Or in some cases, I ran offshore and had no sign other than this just looks like a good spot because I've caught fish here before. I've stopped, looked on the sonar, and they were down there a little ways, threw some chum overboard, had the 2 ladies on my team that are very good at working iron, drop the iron down, hook them up, and the rest of my crew, I've got them, putting some live bait rods overboard and some swim bait rods overboard, and pretty soon as they brought those tuna up, the school came up with it, and we were wide open for a couple hours.
Oh, that sounds like a fantastic day of fishing. Folks, you're listening to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We're talking to Captain Del Stevens. He's the author of a great book called The Dark Side, which is a fantastic primer that'll tell you everything you need to know to get more tuna in your boat. This is good whether you're a first-time tuna angler or a long-time tuna angler. So we've talked about two things that tuna anglers need to do to get more albacore in the boat. Let's talk about one last technique.
I think boat safety is one thing many people overlook. And, and there's more and more people fishing, and they really need to learn when to go and when not to go. And I know of a number of people that have tried to cross Columbia River Bar this year and have come really close to not making it across there.
Wow.
And the more and more people that are out there trying to do this thing, some people try to do it on a shoestring budget. And when you're 50 miles offshore, you can't just get out and walk and step out on the sidewalk.
Right.
And you kind of need to make sure you've got really good flares. You need to make sure your life jackets are in order. Some people don't wear their life jackets. I make all my whole crew wear the nice inflatable ones, and it's a boat rule. And people need to develop an attitude of safety on their boat. I don't do charters anymore. I haven't for probably the last 6-7 years. I still go through the same drill every morning before I leave the dock on boat safety.
Del, those very wise words, and it's not a technique per se, but it's something that's going to keep you safe and keep you alive. It's a big ocean out there. Let's go ahead and change topics here. The Oregon Tuna Classic, you are deeply involved with this. Tell our listeners more about it.
The Oregon Tuna Classic starts out with its first event July 29th and 30th with the Deep Canyon Challenge. That'll be in Elwaco, Washington, and we'll be fishing out of there for the Friday, Big Fish Friday, optional day, and then the full day main competition is Saturday. And then that evening we have the awards banquet, which is a really nice big barbecue. There'll be 600 people inside that tent on Saturday night, and the energy is incredible. It's contagious. There's a live auction with some really nice items. We have hunting and fishing trips around the world. We have a high-speed boat ride with Mike DeFries, who's a former world champion offshore racer. I've ridden in that boat a couple of times on the Columbia River, had it up over 180 miles an hour a couple of times.
Oh, geez.
And, yeah, it's a thrill. And Mike will take you for a high-speed ride and then take you to dinner and bring you back. But there's some really nice choice items in that live auction. And then there's the bucket raffles that they can buy tickets for guns and different things, fishing rods, ladies' items, jewelry, romance packages. It's not just for the guys, it's for the ladies as well. And a lot of people don't realize you don't have to have a registered team to be a part of this. Anybody off the street can walk in, buy a dinner ticket, and have fun with it. And, it's a great time. The dinner starts at 7, and I generally wrap the evening up about 10:30 every night.
Well, Del, we are out of time, but let's give folks a website to find out more about the Oregon Tuna Classic, and where can people find your book, The Dark Side?
The book, The Dark Side, they can go to my website, tunadogoffshore.com, and there's a link on there where they can buy the softback or the hardback. They can also go to Amazon, and then they can also get it at Fisherman's Marine Supply here in Oregon, any one of their 3 stores. The Oregon Tuna Classic, they can find it at OregonTunaClassic.org, and all the information on the 2 events is on there.
Well, Del, thank you as always. You're always a great wealth of information when it comes to tuna fishing. Again, folks, check out his book, The Dark Side. It is a fantastic primer on tuna fishing. Del, have a great day. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, John.
Limit Out Performance Marine is your West Coast Phoenix, Larson, and Aluma craft boat dealer. We also offer full service for your Mercury and Yamaha outboard and have complete parts and tackle store for your every boating need. We'll not only provide you with full service for your boat, motor, and trailer, but we'll also educate you on how to better operate and maintain your boat so you can have a better experience on the water. Visit us at 421 5th Avenue Northwest in Pacific or go online to limitoutmarine.com.
Offshore Northwest is Washington's most exciting albacore tuna fishing charter, offering one-day run-and-gun live bait tuna fishing trips from Westport, Washington. You'll leave at first light, run an hour and a half out to the tuna grounds, and catch these fish till your arms fall off. You'll be back at port by 5 p.m. on a 30-foot Parker boat. The tuna are here now, and this is shaping up to be a record summer, so call Captain Carey now at 253-380-9973. That's 253-380-9973 for Offshore Northwest.
It's time for another local shot of the outdoors. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, and you'll only hear it here on Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
It's time to check in with Matt and Christy Gaget at Rugged Point Lodge at the west coast of Vancouver Island. Christy, we talked before about the great accommodations you have, the comfortable beds, and the things you can do at the lodge when you're not fishing. But now I want to talk about the food, because if you're going to go on a guided trip, the food, as we both know, is very important. Tell me about my 3 meals a day.
Well, when you're at Rugged Point Lodge, we do a big hot breakfast every morning before you head out on the water. It's a buffet style. There's scrambled eggs and sausages and bacon, everything you could want. Then we pack lunches to go and send them out on the boats every day. Then when you get back into the lodge, no matter what time you arrive, we have a big pot of hot homemade soup with homemade bread. And then we follow that up with appetizers, salads, and dinner, and a homemade dessert.
So dinner, are we talking seafood every night?
We do. We like to do a salmon dinner and a halibut dinner, and then we'll do one other, maybe a prime rib or something along those lines. We'll throw some prawns in and maybe some scallops.
Truly all-inclusive. Sounds absolutely delicious. Pretty clear, if you go on a trip to Rugged Point Lodge, you're not going to lose any weight, so you better diet beforehand or make plans to diet after you get back. If you want to find out more about booking a stay and booking a fishing vacation through Rugged Point Lodge, go to their website. It's really simple, ruggedpointlodge.com. That's ruggedpointlodge.com. It's located on the west coast of Vancouver Island, and the fishing there has been epic this season.
There's a whole bunch more of the great outdoors coming your way on Fox Sports 1380.
Some of the best saltwater fishing you'll ever experience is taking place off Vancouver Island this year, and Rugged Point Lodge is where you need to go to catch them. Rugged Point Lodge offers comfortable accommodations, great food, and the chance to catch a limit of salmon, halibut, or lingcod mere minutes away from the dock. Better still, it's not too late to book a trip for this summer to take advantage of what promises to be the best salmon fishing in a generation. Book now at ruggedpointlodge.com. ruggedpointlodge.com, where fishing dreams come true.
Are you ready for an adventure? No, not the kind where you're rappelling off cliffs and canoeing down waterfalls. The kind where you sleep in a cushy bed, open the door with a hot cup of coffee, and set out to do some fishing or hiking. The low-stress kind of adventure we offer at Northwest Adventure Rentals. We're a family-owned business that will start you on your way in one of our luxury motorhomes and travel trailers. We'll even do the packing for you. Just grab your food and clothes and set off for your next adventure. Oh yeah, don't forget your fishing pole. Look us up at nwadventurerentals.com.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. This portion of the show is brought to you by California Sportsman Magazine. It covers the fishing scene and a whole lot more in the great state of California. Look for it at a newsstand near you. We're talking with Leonard Phillips. He is the owner of Baja Pirates of La Paz. Leonard, how has the fishing been out of La Paz in Baja as of late?
It's been very unique this year. We've just finished our El Nino effect, but what's very unique this year is we don't have a lot of our normal bait, the sardines, but we have a lot of the next size up caballitos and mackerel, and since we've been using larger bait, we've been catching a lot larger fish.
Really? You know, that's very interesting. I was actually just fishing in Loretto. They had the same issue there in terms of having a hard time getting live bait, and they were using mackerel. Tell me what kind of fish you're catching off of La Paz with the bigger baits.
Well, basically in La Paz, the season is two-sided. We have our spring season, which runs February through June. Yellowtail, amberjack, grouper, snappers, over 60 varieties, and roosterfish. And currently, right now, we're in the transition, changing from the cool water fishing of the spring season to the warm water or the pelagic. So we're just in that transition right now where the dorado, marlin, sailfish, those types of fish are coming in. So we have the two-sided fishery in La Paz, spring fishing, cool water, summer fishing, warm water.
Great way to break that down. When it comes to the pelagic fish, what's the most prolific? What are the ones your clients generally seem to catch in this July, August time frame?
A lot of Dorado, marlin, and sailfish, and that's when the big Cabrera snappers are in. We catch them up to 60 pounds. Those are world-class Cabrera snappers.
Oh my gosh, I will say they are. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Baja Pirates of La Paz. I've seen you at quite a few of the sportsman shows over the years, but I've never really inquired about what kind of packages you offer. It looks like you can do a completely all-inclusive package or something very close to it.
Exactly. We've created our packages modularly, so you can pick and choose what you want and create the customized vacation package for each customer. Besides fishing, we have snorkeling, sea kayaking, scuba, golf, and day tours. And so what that allows the customer to do is if they have family members who aren't really big fishermen, they can do the other things. They could go snorkeling, whale shark diving, and things like that, while the guys who really love fishing are out fishing and not feel guilty about it.
Oh, I like that. And I also like the idea that, you can have a multi-day vacation and kind of break it up with a couple of days of fishing and a couple of days of these other activities too.
Right, and we offer our services in 3 different levels. We have a standard level that basically gives you the hotel, the activity, whether it's fishing or scuba diving or whatever, breakfast and lunch on your activity days, and all of the equipment that you need to do your activity. And then the next step up, we have an all-meals package. One of the great things with La Paz over a lot of other areas is that it's a big cosmopolitan city, but absolutely no tourist hustle.
Oh, wow.
Nobody wants you to see a timeshare. No little kids are running up for you to buy chiclets. Nothing's for sale on the beach. You're just able to blend right into their society, and since tourism doesn't drive the economy, prices are very good. We have a French culinary academy in La Paz run by a German guy, and he's turning out classically trained French chefs for these little 12 and 14-seat restaurants, and they're killing the food for nothing.
Oh, this sounds absolutely fantastic. The hotels, you offer that as part of the package too. Are those right on the marina?
Correct. We have different waterfront resorts to give people a choice. Like some people want to be out of town, away from everything. We have a resort that's out of town. It's called Club Cantamar. Some people want just the opposite. They want to be in the middle of the town in all of the action. We have one, and that's called La Perla. And some people want a more refined hotel, and we have one like that, and that's called the Marina. So we give our customers a choice of what's important to them.
Well, this sounds like you've got all the bases covered. We're running short on time, but before we go, let's give folks a website so they can find out more about booking a trip with Baja Pirates.
Yeah, it's BajaPiratesOfLaPaz.com.
That's easy enough. It's BajaPiratesOfLaPaz.com. That's BajaPiratesOfLaPaz.com. Check it out and book a fishing trip out of La Paz. Leonard, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, sir.
Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we're heading down to Baja, Mexico. That's where some really good fishing is going on this summer. And with us here to give us an updated fishing report is a prolific outdoors writer and very talented photographer who covers this area, Gary Graham. Gary, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Well, Gary, I can't tell you how thrilled I was to meet you at the Villa del Palmar Resort in Loreto last week. And we went fishing out there. You went in one boat. I went in another. You did a little bit better than I did. How would you sum up the fishing scene around Loreto right now?
Well, I would have summed it up to the day you and I, or all of us, were out to being very slow. However, there was the fall, 2 days later, they did find some Dorado, which is what the target fish was, and it sounds like there may be a definite turn in their future as far as the number of Dorado and the size of Dorado. In addition to the fish that we caught, the striped marlin and the rooster fish that were very nice sized, quality roosterfish. 30-pound roosterfish is a pretty nice roosterfish, and the billfish are definitely around. So I think that things are looking up, even though it was a little dicey for us.
All right, that is good news. Let's head further south to East Cape. There's some great places down there. There's the Van Wormer Resorts. There's Rancho Leonero. How's the fishing out there right now?
Phenomenal. That's all I can say. The swordfish are floating. The big tuna are offshore there, not down below. Usually the boats there that are getting the bigger fish are catching them down at San Jose, but right now they're getting them directly straight to the east outside of about 40 miles out, but some very nice fish. There was a 313 that came in there last week or 10 days ago that it was very impressive. The swordfish bite has been so consistent for the last 2 weeks. It's very unusual. I can't remember. In fact, the locals can't remember a time when there's been so many swordfish for such a long period of time. There's one boat that's already caught 3 since middle of June. There's another boat that is also up in that same score. The fish are anywhere. There was the largest one I've heard of was 279, I believe.
Wow.
One boat baited 5, got 3 bites. So not only are they floating, they're biting. And also the blue marlin have started to come in. I talked to one of the captains on Sunday before I left to fly up to California, and he was telling me that, hey, there's some really nice sized fish. And I said, are they qualifiers? Because there's a tournament that has a 300-pound qualifying weight that's coming up at the end of this month. And he said, oh, yeah, it was a 5. So that was 500 pounds. So there's some nice fish there. It should be an exciting tournament. It should be an exciting July. It's hot. The weather's flat, calm, and it looks really good.
Oh, you've got my blood pumping just talking about that. But one more place we got to talk about, probably the big tourist destination for many, but a lot of people like to go fishing too, down at Cabo. What's it looking like down there this week?
The striper fishing has been very consistent. There's a number of boats that are getting up to 4 fish a day, all released, of course. And there also were some tuna there as well, bigger tuna. A lot of 100s and some 200s hit the dock in the last 10 days, but recently it's dropped down and it's mostly football size up to about 30 pounds. But the other big news down there, which is news all up and down the coast of Baja right now, is the wahoo has been really phenomenal as well. It's been consistent, and there have been a handful of fish caught every day. Nobody really targets them, so they're kind of an incidental catch, but they're early morning fish, so the early riser gets the fish, and then, of course, the rooster fish inside. And at San Jose, they're getting black snook. They got one that was 60 pounds off the beach last week.
Wow. Well, folks, it sounds like there's some great fishing going on in Baja. Lots of places to go to. And Gary Graham, you publish a number of reports. Where can people find your reports so they can keep track of what's going on down there?
They can find me on BD Outdoors is probably the best place. I write a Baja Bites column that comes out every Friday morning, and that's a good place to start, or just go to GaryCGraham.com, and that'll send you to all the different places that I write.
That's Gary Graham, folks. He covers the Baja scene. Go to his website, GaryCGraham.com. Gary, thanks for the update on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Some of the best saltwater fishing you'll ever experience is taking place off Vancouver Island this year, and Rugged Point Lodge is where you need to go to catch them. Rugged Point Lodge offers comfortable accommodations, great food, and the chance to catch a limit of salmon, halibut, or lingcod mere minutes away from the dock. Better still, it's not too late to book a trip for this summer to take advantage of what promises to be the best salmon fishing in a generation. Book now at RuggedPointLodge.com. RuggedPointLodge.com, where fishing dreams come true.
Come to Crystal Lake Resort. Come, enjoy the thrill of calling in a bull moose. The quiet of the remote wilderness. The pleasure of good food and new friends. It's more than just a moose hunt, it's a moose experience. Book your trout fishing and moose hunting trip now at CrystalLakeResortBC.com. That's CrystalLakeResortBC.com for your moose experience.
At Tillamook Country Smoker, for 3 generations, we've made jerky with our hands and our hearts. We cut hardwood from the coastal forest. We blend the spices in every batch, following a family recipe. We feed the fire with real wood and stand watch until it's part of the beef. This is all natural, time-tested perfection in texture and flavor. You can taste the truth in every stick, every bag, and every bite. Tillamook Country Smoker. This is jerky done right.
Experience a once-in-a-lifetime fishing adventure in one single journey to Peregrine Lodge, located in the pristine islands of Haida Gwaii, British Columbia. Peregrine Lodge offers unrivaled salmon and halibut fishing in the Pacific Northwest and quite possibly the world. Our all-inclusive fishing packages include a chartered flight and scenic helicopter ride to the lodge, as well as accommodations, gourmet dining, drinks, and fully outfitted Boston Whaler boats. Find out more at peregrinelodge.com. That's peregrinelodge.com.
The Eat Me lineup of fishing lures is manufactured with pride right here in the United States. Eat Me lures are engineered and proven to catch marlin, sailfish, wahoo, dorado, yellowfin, and albacore tuna, and more. Eat Me lures are the saltwater lure of choice for many pros, helping fishing teams win offshore tournaments around the world, including landing the biggest blue marlin in all of Baja. Contact us in Salem, Oregon, or visit our website, eatmelures.com. That's eatmelures.com.
It's time for summer, and you need to be ready. So stop in at any Oxark store to find all of the summer supplies you need for your yard, home, farm, or business. Oxark has gloves, first aid kits, safety glasses, and even a full line of industrial tools. And don't forget, it's time for Gatorade and Igloo coolers. So this summer, be ready and stop by any Oxark or shop online at oxark.com.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. It's time for Outdoors News, and this portion of the show is brought to you every week by Northwest Sportsman Magazine. It's the monthly publication covering the outdoor scene throughout the greater Northwest. Look for Northwest Sportsman Magazine on a newsstand near you. We start off by reporting on a victory for anglers seeking public access to streams in Big Sky Country. From the Associated Press, we learn a state judge in Montana has created a public access point to the Ruby River after a 12-year fight by an out-of-state landowner to block people from getting to the waterway where it flows through his property. District Judge Lauren Tucker ruled last week that the easement extends 5 feet on either side of the Seiler Lane Bridge south of Twin Bridges. James Cox Kennedy, chairman of Cox Enterprises, an Atlanta-based media company, began buying property along the river in the 1990s and closing off public access. The Public Land Water Access Association sued Madison County in 2004 to get it to force Kennedy to provide public access and remove fences. State law says people can use streams up to the high water mark. The Montana legislature confirmed in 2009 that the public has access to surface waters by public bridge or county road right-of-way. Usually, county roads have a 60-foot public easement that allows for road maintenance, but Judge Tucker ruled in 2012 that the Seiler Lane Bridge had no such access point. The state Supreme Court returned the case to Tucker in 2014, saying he must establish a definite width of the public right-of-way so Madison County could maintain the bridge. The county had said it didn't require the access. Tucker determined the county had historically used about 5 feet upstream and downstream for the bridge for maintenance, setting that as the easement. John Gibson, president of the Public Land Water Access Association, called the ruling a win for public access. In Gibson's words, "If we hadn't fought this, I'm afraid we'd be looking at no trespassing signs and electric fences across the state. Somebody had to stop these people." The case was the third the association won over access to the Ruby River from bridges in Madison County. The two other bridges are at Duncan and Lewis Lanes, south of Seiler Lane, and are also surrounded by Kennedy's property. You're going to like this next story. What if I was to tell you about a bear versus man boxing match? Well, you'd probably think it was going to be on a reality TV show, but this bear versus man boxing match actually played out in the woods of Ontario. From the Outdoor Hub, we learn a lot of boxers can say they faced impressive opponents in the ring, but how many can say they got into a fist fight with a bear and came out on top? A 61-year-old man from Sudbury, Ontario, told news outlets that he came across an estimated 300-pound black bear while walking his dog last weekend. Rick Nelson, described as a former featherweight boxer, was taking a break on a log when he saw a bear cub approach out of the bushes. For a moment, the cub looked inquisitively at Nelson and his 5-year-old dog Maggie. Then the cub started calling for its mother. In Nelson's words, I knew right away I was in trouble. The mother was coming full speed. All you could hear was the bush crashing. Nelson had hunted bears before, so he knew he was in a very bad situation. With a cliff behind him and his dog tied up, the former boxer decided to put up his fists and stare down the sow. This tactic is usually recommended against black bears, which, unlike their larger brown cousins, are less willing to fight. However, against a sow protecting her cub, nothing is predictable. In Nelson's words again, this thing didn't stop. It didn't stomp, it didn't snort, it just came straight at me. When it stood up and took its first swing with its left paw, it hooked my front shoulder, and as I swung around, I went to hit it, but I missed because it hit me so hard. I hit it in the lip and teeth, which actually did a lot of damage to my knuckle, and it went down. Nelson said he was originally aiming for the bear's snout. Surprisingly, he managed to knock the large animal down with a punch to the teeth instead. Bears are a lot more resilient than your average boxer, however, and the animal came straight back up for a second round. This time, Nelson caught the bear with an uppercut right on the nose. It was a perfect shot that sent the bear reeling. Suddenly, the animal decided it was no longer in the mood to fight and ran off with its cub. Nelson wrote off the victory as luck, though he did suffer a few scratches and bruises from the encounter. Nelson added he held no grudge against the bear and that it was just doing what came to it naturally. Black bear attacks are rare, but chances of getting on the wrong side of one increases when cubs are involved. Walking dogs also increases your chance of being attacked by a bear. Bears naturally enter into a fight or flight response when they encounter dogs, and sows with cubs often choose to fight. And now it's time for our Trail of Shame, and this story, ironically enough, is brought to you by Cox Media. Yes, the same Cox Media that was involved in our earlier story.
It's time for the Trail of Shame.
Shame, shame on you. Shame, shame on you.
Stories of poachers, scoundrels, and other ne'er-do-wells, so if you see someone committing a criminal act on the water or in the field, turn them in. It's the right thing to do.
A year-long investigation has led to a man being charged after video surfaced of him appearing to jump from a moving boat onto a moose's back, according to a June 30th Facebook post from Canada's Conservation Officer Service. The upsetting video shows a man straddling a boat as it moves and jumping onto a moose treading water. The moose howls as it attempts to continue walking through the water while the man rides on its back until he falls off. CBC News in Canada reported the men were tracked down once the body of water in the video was identified. The men are from Fort St. John in British Columbia. The Conservation Officer Service said 2 men have been charged with harassing wildlife with the use of a boat, attempting to capture wildlife, and hunting big game that is swimming. They are set to appear in court August 8th. But they don't have to wait for their moment of infamy. Nope, we are providing that right now because these 2 jerks are this week's inductees onto our Trail of Shame.
Shame on you.
Next on America Outdoors Radio, we're checking in with Jim Stahl. He's the owner of Northwest Fishing Guides, and he likes to fish on the Columbia River, especially for salmon. Big fishery coming up really soon, the Buoy 10 fishery for salmon. Tell our listeners more about this. When does it start? Where is it taking place? And give us more info, too.
Yeah, it officially starts August 1st, even though we've got a summer fishery this year above the bridge, so we actually get to start it a little bit early. It's mainly right out in front of the bridge at Astoria. You also can launch on the Washington side at Chinook and Ilwaco. It's a great fishery, beautiful weather, lots of fish. Lots of boats, so bring your patience. It's a herring, anchovy, or spinner show. It's kind of pick your poison and go from there.
So let's talk about limits this year because it's been kind of a crazy year in terms of the forecast and what you're allowed to take. How many fish can you take home from the Buoy 10 fishery?
It changes actually for 2 different time periods. The normal fishery, it's 1 king, and it can either be clipped or wild, and then 2 coho or 1 coho, and the coho have to be clipped. On Sunday and Monday this year, you can actually only keep hatchery kings. They have to be clipped. So when you're checking your kings, it just goes right around with your coho. You have to check for them. But other than that, the other 5 days of the week, we can keep either a hatchery fish or a wild fish. And, it's looking to be a really good fishery. The last 3 years, we've set records down there. They're projecting, I think, 960-some thousand kings back. So if we see that, going to be a phenomenal year for fishery.
And some of those fish get really big, don't they?
Yeah, every year we see a fish that's, close to maybe 40, 45 pounds. Every once in a while, once every 10 years or so, you'll hear of a 50, and those are those upriver bright fish headed to the reach. And I mean, there's quite a few of them caught at the reach, so you'd think we'd catch them more, down below, but there's just so many fish down below that sometimes it's hard to target those big ones because it's hard to get the little ones back to try to get a bigger one. So
now this fishery, the Buoy 10 fishery, it's heavily influenced by the tides. When's the best time to be fishing?
Typically, it's like the third week of August, but this year, if you look at your tide chart and your calendar, it's actually the second week of August. Most people go by, you want the shallow exchanges. You don't want a huge, tide. You want the shallow exchanges, and that's usually what the kings target. And what happens with that shallow tide is those fish get pushed into the river, and sometimes they don't commit to move upriver, so they'll actually come into the river and stage there. And for that week of that shallow exchange, there's times where you can just have a lot of fish stacked up above the bridge or in some of the troughs below the bridge, and you run over there, and it can literally be you drop them, and you can't even get all the rods out before the next one's going off. So
wow. Now, I know hotel rooms can be really hard to come by in Astoria when this fishery's going off. When people book with you, do you basically have rooms that you have reserved through certain hotels?
We don't this year. We used to have a deal with a certain company with that, and it's kind of gone away. But we have a list of hotels that we deal with, and almost every one of them gives a discount to fishermen. And tell you, if you're looking at going, you need to get on it. The hotel situation this year has just been crazy. It's been booked for a lot of the prime dates since basically February and March.
Now, I understand you've only got a couple dates left yourself, so if people want to inquire about fishing with you for the Buoy 10 fishery this summer, what's a website we should steer them to?
Just our normal nwfishingguides.net. We're working with a few partner guides that I really know and trust, so if we're booked, we can get you hooked up with them. But, yeah, we have a couple spots available, and then I think one full day left. But if you're interested in it, we can hopefully work with somebody and get you in on it.
All right. The website, again, is nwfishingguides.net. That's nwfishingguides.net for the Buoy 10 salmon fishery at the mouth of the Columbia River. It's going to be great this year. Don't miss it. Jim, thanks for telling us about it on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks, John. Take care.
It's time for another local shot of the outdoors. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, and you'll only hear it here on Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
With us again, Lance Mers. Lance, it is time to go sockeye fishing in places like the Mid-Columbia River. Lake Wenatchee's probably going to open up anytime now, and let's not forget Baker Lake in western Washington, too. What does Max Lure have for folks who want to get into some of those tasty sockeye this summer?
It's called the Cha-Cha Sockeye Rig. It's got a 1.5-inch smile blade, different colored squid body, and then it's got two 1/0 hooks that are very close together, but it's all high UV beads on it, too.
The one we have here today is kind of a pink color, and I know that's a great sockeye color. So, again, we got the pink smile blade, we got the Cha-Cha squidder, we got the red hooks, and I don't know what it is about sockeye, but they love those red hooks, and of course you get the beads there in between the hooks as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you tip that with some coon shrimp, and you're on the sockeye.
There's a whole bunch more of the great outdoors coming your way on Fox Sports 1380.
Book a trip with Northwest Fishing Guides. Salmon. That's right, salmon are their specialty, and you'll get a chance to catch them out of the mighty Columbia River from a comfortable and sturdy 26-foot boat. Northwest Fishing Guides will take you out for steelhead and sturgeon, too, and can also accommodate your saltwater fishing desires. That's nwfishingguides.net. Book your trip with the best.
Blue Moon Fishing Adventures has the experience and knowledge to take you where the fish are biting the best. Blue Moon Fishing Adventures offers freshwater trips for salmon, steelhead, and oversized sturgeon. And with their 33-foot offshore boat, they can chase tuna, halibut, lingcod, salmon, and bottom fish. Whether you're an experienced fisherman or a novice, Blue Moon Fishing Adventures will do their very best to see that you have a great time fishing. Give them a call at 360-521-0273. That's 360-521-0273.
Some of the best saltwater fishing you'll ever experience is taking place off Vancouver Island this year, and Rugged Point Lodge is where you need to go to catch them. Rugged Point Lodge offers comfortable accommodations, great food, and the chance to catch a limit of salmon, halibut, or lingcod mere minutes away from the dock. Better still, it's not too late to book a trip for this summer to take advantage of what promises to be the best salmon fishing in a generation. Book now at RuggedPointLodge.com. RuggedPointLodge.com, where fishing dreams come true.
Starbucks Mid-Valley Line-X in Salem is the place to go for your pickup truck's Line-X protective coatings. These coatings are so durable, they guarantee them for as long as you own your truck with a warranty that's good nationwide. Not only do they spray in bed liners with your choice of colors, but they also sell accessories like mud flaps, floor mats, and running boards. They've been in business for over 20 years and are not going anywhere soon. Starbucks Mid-Valley Line-X, the place to go in Salem and in the Willamette Valley.